Om Ha Hum, Nam-Myoho-Renge-Kyo. So good evening everyone. My name is Graham Brown. I'm an old friend of Rajit. I've known him for 15 years and he hasn't changed at all in that time. So, and I'd like to read some poems. I've made some books, some little books. I'll read maybe a poem from each and some new poems. And they're quite simple and short poems. They come through me. I don't work on them much. I try to make myself available to them. But I don't spend hours working on them, which is, I think is their strength and also their weakness. But anyway, it's a certain type of way of using language, and I'd like to find some examples. So thank you very much for your patience. This isn't prepared. I should have got a list, I should have a list. But this poem is called Winter Birches. I wrote it when I was a novice monk at Chithurst Forest Monastery. Winter Birches. A delicate tracery of branches, an ornament carved, a web, to capture the sky, blue, by the shimmer, the shining white. In the dark time, the winter, the sweetness lies waiting, the sap. In roots, the blackness of earth, a glimmering necklace of tears. The raindrops on leafless branches, after the storm they sway, they bow to the wind in the spring of their life, these ancient birches. That's quite an old poem. If Rajit, you could close the door, that would be very good. As people are trying to sleep, they have to get up early. We get up early in this monastery. This is the common room, the lay manager's common room at Amaravati Buddhist Monastery in April 2007. This is from a small chapbook of mine called Feral. Walking in the bit of the forest in October, they had left alone, the biggest rowan I had ever seen, chaotic and generous, so I looked it up in the dictionary, wild, wailed. May be easier to define by what it is not, tame, domesticated, wild fancies, wild laughter, very enthusiastic, irrational, a wild guess at these countless dialects of green, uncivilized from civitas, the city gone to seed, these berries from the orchard nobody owns, the wilderness, so be it. So I'll try and do one poem from each book and some fresh poems. This is called April. It's April now. And it's very much influenced by an American poet called W.S. Merwin. As the landscape breaks into flowers, so it is ending. We cannot sustain ourselves. After the ice age, the great flood of our own creation, we the dinosaurs for tomorrow, knowing only now, disappearing. The rain showers on the roof of the hut, the familiar faces, Ragged Robin, Celandine, bowing to the sound of the wind chimes, saying yes, we shall meet again. And this is my fourth book. It's called Happily Insecure. The cover is by Ajahn Titadamo, a very good friend of mine. This is called Hermit Poem. What happened has happened. It is over now. Whatever went wrong in my childhood was stupid, but it was not crazy, and for that I bow. I am rebuilding the house my father made, here, in order to be alone. The birches and the clouds and the moss and the snow, untouched, for all my travels. To be seeking and learning and testing the voice inside my body, this wild heaven. So thank you. That is my collected works. I learned some wisdom today. I learned Jesus saves, but Buddha invests. So there's some wisdom. If I could do two more poems, Rajit. These are very fresh. I have a fifth book planned and a sixth book. And this is from the sixth book. And it's called The Dharma Bum in Autumn. I wrote it last autumn. And Dharma Bum is from the book by Jack Kerouac. The Dharma Bum in autumn. He forgave his parents for having made him. He forgave his sister. For her addiction to shopping, he forgave his friends. He forgave both of them. He forgave God. Though next time she would have to do better, he forgave his baldness. He forgave his stinking socks. He had been tramping for years to get here. He forgave his Oxfam clothes for falling to pieces. He would have to redonate them. He forgave the cold he had had for as long as he could remember. Rummaging through his beard for significance, he forgave that too. He forgave this poem. Sitting alone, of course on a bench, by the canal near Berkhamsted. The canal by which he had first had sex outdoors, the canal which had been his first long walk, the canal by which he had lived in 3 different towns. He forgave the canal. Crunching his way through some hand-baked organic crisps, slurping a ridiculously expensive, though healthy, detox drink. He was happy inside this body. He forgave this perfectly imperfect world, as the trees did their thing and yellowed into October. He praised the glorious litany of names, from chestnut to hawthorn to hazel. He forgave the silence he would never understand, which was the only thing reflected in the glistening, smelly water. Good, and this is, I'll finish with a poem I wrote this morning. So very fresh, very raw. You always feel when you've just written a poem it's the best poem that's ever been written. And often you're slightly embarrassed the next day if you've shown it to someone. It's very fresh. You need to keep it to yourself. But as a sign of the confidence I feel in having poems which more or less write themselves, I'm going to risk embarrassing myself. But I don't feel I can embarrass myself any more than I have already. So this is called Resolve. It's very fresh. Resolve. Go mad in a stuffy suburban world. Cling to your sanity among the schizophrenia. Be safe, don't wear a condom on your heart. Mattock the dusty soil from the roots of horse chestnuts. Burn them in the spring, gather round and chant. Leave brash twigs, slowly decomposing. Arrange them in a bundle, an excellent refuge for beetles, creepy crawlies, so the birds can eat them, so the birds can sing. Write poems as prayers, as if the language had wings. So that is it. That is 6 poems. I thank you for your patience. Stop, Rajit, don't do that yet. If I could, if any goodness has come from my poems, I'd like to thank my teachers, the people who have helped me, and hope that we can have the sense of healing and love in this world which is quite screwed up at the moment. And if you think what I've said is complete twaddle, then be aware of that. And thank you very much. May all beings be free.